All right. We are here again. We're an hour early this week, but that's just because we wanted to start the weekend that much earlier.
Yeah, because you and I will do nothing tomorrow, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. But we're back. Chase is with us again. Thanks, Chase, for being with us. And today we have an interesting topic. Sometimes when it comes to your insurance agent or to your insurance company, things happen. Things happen that aren't fair. Things happen that aren't right. You try to take care of it yourself. You may even involve an attorney and try to take care of it, and still things do not get resolved. There's one additional step you can take, and that is to file a complaint with the Department of Insurance. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And honestly, Chase, being a personal injury attorney, has much more experience at this than I do. Hopefully, I don't have a lot of experience with that, because that means a lot of people have complained about me and my company. But luckily, I have no experience with that. So we just want to present this information to you all so that if you ever do find yourself in a situation like this, you know what to do, you know the steps to take, and you know what to expect. So with that, Chase, tell us, what would warrant filing a complaint and how all of that works out.
Yeah. So just to make it clear, Michael and I are not preaching that you run to the Department of Insurance to complain because you didn't get a phone call back. No, I mean, this is supposed to be final recourse because your insurance company or your agent isn't doing something that they should. So for example, I have been practicing for a little more than 9 years now, and I have only filed 2 complaints with the Department of Insurance in those 9 years.
Okay.
And so
it's how many cases do you think? Like thousands?
Oh, thousands. Yeah, okay. Thousands. And so, I mean, it is 0.001% of them. And so please don't think it's like, oh, they're telling us just to go and complain. No, it's recourse. It's something that you can do to avoid getting pulled around by the insurance company if they're not responding to you. And so the example I give before we get into the actual board of insurance is, for example, as an attorney, I am governed by the State Bar of Arizona. And if a client or another attorney has an issue with me, they can file a complaint with the State Bar of Arizona, who then will investigate me. And if something has happened, I can be disciplined, whether it be from an attorney or from a client. And so it's that protection for the consumers to make sure that attorneys are honest and have something to keep them honest.
Yep.
And so, hopefully you and I and Michael as the agent too will work ethically and promise that we will. Maybe not everybody does, but at least there's some sort of recourse. And so with the State Department of Insurance, this is a government entity that oversees insurance agents, insurance producers, such as your regular insurance companies. And anytime that you've got a situation that isn't resolving, you can file a complaint with them. And this is actually kind of a big deal because insurance companies are not governed, but kind of judged on how many different complaints they get. Mm-hmm. You and I filing a complaint against a large insurance company like State Farm isn't going to shut them down. But there are smaller companies out there, or even if a big company started having lots of problems, the public could gather together and file these complaints. Mm-hmm. And the government would intervene to make sure that the insurance companies are being honest and taking care of their insureds.
Perfect. And I'll kind of interject there. So the Department of Insurance is, so me as an insurance broker, any insurance agent that you deal with, we have to study, we have to take an exam, we have to go and pass that exam, and then we have to present our test results to the Department of Insurance. They are the ones that then run the background check and say, yes, you pass, you can now sell insurance for the state of Arizona or whatever state you're in. At the same time, they can also say, okay, you're doing shady things, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, and they can pull that license from you so that you can no longer practice insurance or sell insurance. And I will reiterate Chase's point. This is not like, oh, the insurance company raised my rates by $250 and I didn't have any accidents, I'm going to go file a complaint. Or, hey, my insurance company, it took them 3 weeks to call me back, and when they called me back, they didn't give me the answer I wanted, I'm going to go file a complaint. That's not what this is for. This is like high level stuff where you really are being wronged and you've taken most every other recourse and you haven't gotten your situation resolved. Then at that point, the DOI is what you want to do.
Yeah. So if you have a problem with your insurance company, the first thing you need to do is contact your insurance company, talk to your agent. If it's something that an agent like Michael can intervene and kind of talk you through, if someone in claims or the actual insurance company is having issues, talk with an agent. Again, another good reason why to have an agent, because then you've got somebody else who is kind of independent. It's not like you are beholden to the insurance company because you don't work for them.
Exactly.
And so you've got someone like you who's going to be able to advocate and help you to get through the process. So you can talk to an agent, or if you're making a claim, you should have a claims representative that you'll be able to talk to. Auto claim, home claim, anything. There's going to be a person assigned to your file. Talk to that person, call, email, put things in writing so that there's a paper trail. Do that. And then even beyond that, there are supervisors. You can talk to supervisors. You can find out who supervisors are, who the supervisor of the supervisor is. And there are multiple people you can talk to. And if you're having to get to that level, honestly, you're probably going to get to the bottom of your issue. In my experience, these large insurance companies and most everyone else is going to take care of you. It's few and far between that they don't. And maybe they make decisions that we don't agree with, but watch our other videos and we'll talk to you about how to go around that. But it's not like they're acting in bad faith.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, they'd rather just take care of you and get rid of you than have that complaint filed against them.
Exactly. And so your complaint will have a lot more weight if you put in the Department of Insurance, the complaint information that you've done X, Y, and Z. I have called the claims handler who wouldn't return my call. I got the phone number for the supervisor who has never called me. I've sent an email, I've sent a letter, I've sent faxes, and I've done all this, and it's been a month and nobody's getting back to me, and I'm incurring fees because of whatever. Okay, then the department is going to take your complaint a lot more seriously.
Exactly. And you know what? I just thought of a story. Can I tell it real quick?
It's your show, dude.
Okay. So, and just for like security purposes, I'm not going to say who, but someone that I know very well, who sells life insurance. They've sold life insurance for years and years. About 10 years ago, there was a client of his that submitted. This person had no idea that there was any complaints, that there were any problems. And suddenly this person gets a letter from the Department of Insurance saying, hey, a complaint has been filed against you for this and this and this. We're going to investigate. Once they called the Department of Insurance, once they called this person who the complaint was filed against and heard the whole story, they realized that this consumer who filed the complaint had no basis in filing the complaint. That was the first time that anybody had heard of the complaint. So she had not done what you said. She had not done her due diligence to try to solve it herself. And basically at that point, the DOI said, take a hike, lady. This is not a valid complaint. First of all, it's not valid at all. And second of all, this is the first time that you've brought it up to the agent and to the company. If you would have just brought it up to them, they probably could have solved the issue.
Yeah. I mean, let's just be courteous individuals. All right. Yes. Let's just be nice to each other. And if there's an issue, let's talk it out. So again, this is last resort type situation. Yeah. But the website is the naic.org, or excuse me, it's actually difi.az.gov. Okay. It's the Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions.arizona.gov is where you go.
And we'll put the link down below.
And so if you have a complaint, there's a whole section on consumer information, consumer complaints, and then they read through all these different things, what they can investigate, what they cannot investigate. And then after going through all these different things that they say, please, this is what you should be looking at, and this is what you should do before you file a complaint. Then it says, okay, if you would still like to file a complaint, continue in English. And I'll share my screen really quick so you can kind of see what the screen looks like. But right here, again, you'll have to give your name and contact information, and then the person you're making the complaint about, whether it's a person or an entity, all the people involved in it, who is the complaint against. You're gonna have to give that information, the data loss, the policy numbers, the reason for the complaint, and then details for the complaint, and then it'll get submitted. So it's not like you can just check off a box and say, yeah, I'm ticked. You've got to give details to it, but this does get addressed. And so the situation that happened with me is I had a client who had full coverage. to an insurance company that I won't say who, but they're not one that you see advertised on TV. And it's not one that you hear about very often. It's a smaller company, but they are terrible and they have a terrible reputation.
Okay.
And his vehicle was towed to a tow yard. The car that hit him was uninsured. So there was no insurance, anything that we could do for recourse against the other insurance company. So the only thing we had was to go through his insurance. And this insurance company would not respond. My client tried to handle it first himself, and after 2 weeks got me involved. I called, I sent faxes, I sent letters, I sent certified letters, I found out who supervisors were. I did everything I could and was putting in writing, hey, every day that this car is in the tow yard, it's incurring $35 in storage fees that my client can afford to pull out. And this is why he has insurance with you guys, is to take care of this. And every day that you're ignoring us, we're incurring these costs, and we are trying to mitigate our damages. We're trying to stop this, but you're not helping. And so that went on for about 6 weeks. And so finally, I didn't know who else I could call. I didn't know what else I could do. And so I filed a complaint with the Board of Insurance. And the next day, all of a sudden, I have a phone call from a supervisor apologizing and got somebody out to take care of it, paid the whole storage fee, totaled out the car, did all that stuff. And so it's a heavy stick because again, if they get enough complaints against them, their license can be revoked and they can not issue insurance in our state. And so it's a big deal. And players like this insurance company have had lots of complaints against them. And so because of that, they are ultra sensitive to it. Doesn't mean that they're going to change their ways. I wish they would, but at least there is this recourse. You've got something to fall back on, an independent agency who can have your back if your agent, your attorney, yourself, whoever can't get to the bottom of an issue. But again, this is the last straw. This is the last thing that you want to use. Because like Michael, your story, if you make a complaint without ever trying to resolve it yourself, the Board of Insurance is going to be ticked off.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And your story just shows that, those complaints are taken seriously, and they'll scare the company as well to get their butts in gear and take care of you. But like you said in the beginning, most companies, even if they don't like you, and they're not happy about taking care of you, they're going to take care of you before it gets to that point where you have to file a complaint against them.
So the two complaints I have done, one of the companies no longer exists in Arizona. So they were that bad that ultimately they removed themselves from Arizona. The other company of the story that I just told is still around, but is a very, very small company. And so you're only dealing with a couple of people. So again, I have never gotten to the point of having to do that for a State Farm, a Progressive, a Liberty Mutual, any of that. I may disagree with their decisions and why they do things, but they have reasons for it. And it's not something you run to this. For me, the way to fight it is to have to file a lawsuit.
Got it. Okay. And I'll say this too. I know hundreds, if not thousands, of independent insurance agents just through my networking and communication and conferences I go to. I don't think I know one single insurance agent where this has happened. So, and I always say this disclaimer anytime I post videos on Facebook or anything, people probably look at me and like, you're an insurance agent and you're talking about like how you can sue your insurance company or how you can file a complaint against your insurance company. And that seems maybe a little backward, but the whole point of why we do this is just to educate all consumers. For the most part, if you listen to Chase and I on a weekly basis, you know the type of coverage you need, you know the type of policies you need, you know the type of brokers that you need to work with. And if you do all that stuff we talk about, you never have to worry about. However, there are your bad agents out there. There are your bad companies out there. Sometimes there's just a bad scenario, miscommunication where you need these types of resources and help. So that's why we're doing it. We don't want to scare you and make you think that every insurance agent and every insurance company out there is bad out to get you. And you always have to be filing lawsuits or filing complaints. That's not the case. But we want to give you the resources in the case that happens so you can be prepared.
Right. So you and I personally, again, if there was ever a situation that a client, a consumer or whatever had an issue with us, guaranteed, if they contact us, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Okay. Because we don't want the bad publicity. We want to keep our reputation clean and good in the community. And so it's worth taking care of that person. And so we're going to do that. And that's how the insurance company is going to be with you for the most part as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
So just try and work through the issue, get an attorney involved if necessary, get your agent involved. And then again, this is the last resort if all else fails.
100%. And I'll just close it with this. Yesterday evening, we had a case where we made a mistake. The client brought it to our attention. Client could have been really mad, and he was a little bit mad, but within the hour, I jumped on it. I worked with our employees, and we had the problem fixed within an hour. So we're not the outlier. Most all insurance companies and insurance agents are like that. You bring a problem to their attention, they're going to take care of it.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. The reason we do these videos is to educate and to help you guys. And that's the whole reason why we do what we do.
Absolutely. Perfect. So there you go. And we will post the link down below so you can save that as a resource. And I think that is it. This is a very simple video.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that point. And I don't think it will. If you have an agent or you have an attorney, 99.9% of the time, it's not going to get to that point. You'll get it resolved some other way.
Perfect. And as always, guys, I'm going to say this at the end of every video. If you have topics you want Chase and I to discuss, put them below in the comments. We're more than happy. We nerd out over this stuff. We're always trying to think of helpful topics for you all. So please put them down below, and we definitely will cover your topic. So thank you, Chase, again for being with us. And thank you.